Hello everyone and welcome to Apex Data Intelligence as explained in 60 seconds, where we take a concept, feature or service of Databricks and explain it as quickly as possible. My name is Geoff Jones. I'm the founder and director of Apex Data Intelligence. We're a leading go-to-market consultancy and a Databricks partner. Let's get started. Today we're going to be talking about the Medallion Architecture, which is a multi-hop architecture that allows us to move data throughout our environment in a way that allows us to extract the most value as possible out of it. How do we start? Well, simple. We start to ingest data, don't we? We bring it from external sources. We bring it into our world. Where do we land it? In bronze. Our bronze layer is where we keep our raw data as untouched as possible, as unmodified as possible. No schema, no structure, just exactly as it was from the source system. From there, we move it into the silver location. Our silver layer is where we start to conform things, dedupe things, consolidate things, enrich things, start to make things more enterprise level ready. From there, we move it into our gold layer. Now, the gold layer is where we start to really present that data back to the business. We start to conceptualize things in terms of business terminology and business functions, and we start to make it really performant, much like a business intelligence OLAP layer or, a dimensionally modeled layer. The most important thing to bear in mind is as we move through our different multi-hop architecture layers, data quality increases, consistency increases, things get more consolidated and more semantically relevant as we move through. So let's take a little bit more detailed dive into each one of those layers. Let's start with our bronze layer. In our bronze layer, we're keeping our files exactly as they are. They're in the raw format. If they're a CSV at source, they're a CSV in bronze. If they're a Parquet, JSON file, audio file, whatever it is, we keep it exactly as it was in source. We also don't inform schema, so if the schema changes, if the structure changes, we don't mind. We keep it in there. We track the data that we pulled in so that we can make sure that we're always getting the most recent data rather than having to do full loads. Crucially, the biggest benefit of keeping data in this format and persisting it is that if we need to rebuild our downstream entities, our downstream environments, we can do that without having to reload from source. Okay, so that's the bronze layer. From there, we move into our silver layer. Now here, we're gonna move everything from whatever data source it was, whatever format it was, into a Delta Lake format. We're gonna cleanse it. We're gonna deduplicate it. We're gonna use third normal form. We're gonna make sure that everything has internal consistency. We're going to maybe blend our data sets, and at this stage, we do just enough to satisfy the business requirements. And from there, we're building our enterprise view. The other exciting thing about the silver layer is that because we haven't started to model it necessarily, it's really useful for our AI and machine learning outputs, because this is the data that is really valuable for those types of work streams. And from our silver layer, we're going to move straight into our gold layer. This is where we're going to start to model our data and produce actual data products for our end users. The benefits of moving things into this environment is it's modeled, i.e. we're using dimensional modeling ideally, facts and dimensions, and that allows us to conceive of our data from a business point of view. We're talking about business units, not source systems. We've optimized it for read. Yeah, we're not interested in how quickly we can get the data in here. We're extremely interested in how quickly we can get that data out. So we pre-aggregate our data, we pre-model it, so that it's really easy and accessible for business intelligence and other outputs such as that. So the last thing we want to quickly touch on is how we contextualize this data. Everything in our raw environment through to our silver environment, we're thinking of that in terms of the source systems. We're conceptualizing them in terms of where they came from and how we can get them nice and clean and how they reflect the ground truth of that source system. As we move into our gold environment, we're starting to think of things in terms of the business context. So instead of your Salesforce entities or your Google Analytics entities, we're now thinking of things in terms of customers, products, locations, things that people who are non-technical would be able to identify and understand what that means to the business. And that brings out a lot of real value in our gold layer. There we go. That was our whistle-stop tour of the Medallion Architecture, also known as the multi-hop architecture. There's obviously a lot more detail than we could get through in that one short video. So if you want more information or if you want to talk about anything that we've just discussed, you can reach out to us on the links below, LinkedIn, email, or directly via the website. I've been Geoff Jones. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.